Welcome back to Houston Life. During the holidays, many folks decide to add a new dog to the family, but sadly, a few weeks later, some realize they just weren't prepared enough for this responsibility.
Well, and that's actually a very common scenario. So to set you up for success, Stephanie Bennett, owner of Believe in Dog Training, is here with things you should all consider before and once your dog is home. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
With
thanks.
little Cash.
Yay,
Tell us the
Cashy.
story about Cash, because we haven't seen you for a few months, and Cash is a new addition.
He's a new addition, yes. He just turned a year old, but I acquired him kind of accidentally, and that is because he was a client's puppy, actually, as a little baby. And, you know, we call this the post-puppy panic. We see it actually quite a bit, and you probably know a little bit about this, is that when you get a puppy and you kind of think you have this Disney kind of fantasy that they're going to be a really calm little lap dog and stuff like that. Well, Cash is not a really calm little lap dog. And he's actually quite active and working, and he's kind of cuckoo. He has his moments. But anyway, after much decision, she was actually a very responsible dog owner, but after much talk and decision, she just finally realized that this was actually not the dog for her, which is good for someone to realize that, and then to be responsible about it when he was still young, so it was easy to find him a home. Right. I did not intend to keep him, but I was looking for another working dog, and he just actually is a really great, oh goodness, he's a working dog. So he is kind of an accident, but it's also an accident that he looks so much like Tex.
He does look like Tex, for sure.
Filled a little hole in your heart, for sure.
It really does.
Cash
it really
is
does.
Adorable. I know he and Oscar have played together
They have.
a few times. And this is something I need to tell, because Oscar just turned 3, and before we got him, you came over, talked to the whole family, talked to the kids and us about what this responsibility means. And you're talking about if you want to get a puppy, you have to be prepared.
Yes, prepare. I mean, you just cannot prepare enough. And I think that we should all have a family meeting, because, you know, it was a little bit heartbreaking when so many dogs got adopted during the pandemic, and then when people got back to work, then they surrendered them again. So I think it's just really about being responsible and knowing what you're going to get, because every family should have a meeting and go, who's going to do what exactly? Who's going to be the primary caretaker? And also, let's all remember all the things that a dog needs for all of their life. We're talking about 12 to 16 years, right? And it's expensive, and there's a lot of stuff that has to be done. So it's just a big responsibility.
And we're seeing some of the basic needs on our screen right now. You mentioned the expense and the time involved, Stephanie. You recommend taking off a few days of work or school once you bring this puppy home.
Yes, I think it's a great idea. I love it when teachers come to me for their summer vacation and they get one, you know, so have a puppy. But I think that at least a few days just to kind of help your puppy get acclimated. I mean, this is a big deal. It's a giant transition no matter where they came from. And so to be able to be in their house, learn their home, learn your rules, start building your relationship, let's just take it real slow and easy, take some time off instead of bringing them home and then leaving to work right away.
Yeah.
Right, because they don't understand it. I can kind of dig the pet-ternity
yes,
leave.
exactly.
Just kidding. Also, it's really important before you take this next step too, is find a veterinarian, whether that's close to home, someone that you like and feel comfortable bringing your pet to.
Yeah, I think that every pro that you hire for your dog, you should interview them, right? You should interview them. And we have a lot of good apps these days where you can get opinions from other people and things like that. But, you know, I think that you should make sure that you're vibing and making sure that you're also getting this. You want the kind of care, because, you know, we always want to just make sure that they're going to do the same kind of care that we want, especially trainers, because we don't want any negative punishment stuff, you know.
Dogs who are typically very young may not be fully vaccinated. Once they are vaccinated, you recommend allowing that dog to get out and explore their brand new environment.
Yes, so taking it real slow. So when you first get them home, not forcing anything, don't go to dog parks, don't do play dates, don't do anything like that. But what I want you to do is start to take them on slow snifaris. We call them snifaris.
Oh.
It's a decompression walk is what it's called. And so you put them on a long line, and then you just let them sniff. It's all about the nose work. And so there's no pressure, no heel, no nothing. We're just going to walk, because the dogs need to use their nose more than anything. It's essential for their well-being. It's how they see the world. So let them go out sniffari like crazy, no pressure.
I love that. And you also recommend too, all the dogs need exercises. I know zoomies are real common. You talk about Cash being a little cuckoo, but it's also really important to exercise your dogs.
Yes, got to get them exercise, and you have to just make sure we understand what your lifestyle is and what puppy or dog you get and how much do they actually need. need, because you also have to understand that also mental enrichment is just as important as the physical exercise. So they need both of those things. And really, depending on what kind of dog you get, they need a lot of that stuff. So you're really going to have to figure out, how are you going to work that out? Plan ahead, know what you're going to get.
Stephanie, before we let you go, because we're tight on time, a lot of people might be a bit impatient, putting pressure on their dog to immediately sit or perform some of these basic commands. You say don't do that.
Yes, take it easy. I find that so many of our clients, they're very, people are high functioning and they're very successful and things like that, and they expect the same from their puppy. And so, of course, we want our dogs to be successful. We want to teach them, we want to train them, but don't expect too much too soon. We don't expect our children to go from kindergarten to college, right? We got to do all the stuff in between. There's a journey here, and you got to take steps, and you got to take it one step at a time, as opposed to going, do it all once right now. You can't do that, but just give them some time and let them decompress and start to learn. Basic obedience is not the emergency, right? Socialization and all that. Basic obedience we can teach forever, right? Just your bond and your relationship is the most important thing.
All great information. Cash show.
Man.
Not cuckoo today. We love his Christmas jammies too. It's always great to see you.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
you
Stephanie,
guys. So
the
great.
dog whisperer for sure.
cute.
Peternity, I'm onto something here.
Oh, yeah.
To connect with Stephanie, head over to the Scene On section of our website, HoustonLife.tv.